Welcome to Normal State College in the athletic department. We're back here in the Waco Center today for another edition of the Coach's Show, and our guest here this morning is Coach Kim Stevens. Coach, good to have you this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, historic week here, with the women's basketball program, with the history and the 12 championships and all the NCAA tournaments. They've never been number one in the country. This week, number one. I know there's a whole lot more work to do, but if you can place a value on, getting to that ranking.
It was a lot of hard work to get there, and the girls worked hard, and I think that they have earned it. I think it's going to be harder to keep. I think we're going to have to work harder to keep it than we did to earn it. And so that's something we talk about as a program. It's very exciting for them, something that's never been done. They've earned it, they deserve it, but we need to keep our focus on winning a Mountain East championship, and we only do that by playing hard one game at a time. And so we got to kind of reel things back in. We didn't really win anything yet, so we got to refocus on our goals.
And the target gets bigger, more arrows come flying at you.
Sure does, and you can feel the pressure. And I think our kids can feel the pressure, and so we'll see how the next couple games, how we respond to that.
Well, I tell you, in some of the interviews since this has happened, it's great to hear a whole lot of talk about the defense. I mean, I've talked to other coaches that have coached against you, and they say that's the big difference in the system is what you do defensively. And now you're leading the league in defense, and that's been a big part of the talk. I mean, talk about, the pressure and the forced turnovers, what that's done to your success this year.
No, it's been good. We've always forced the turnovers, and we've always had the full court pressure, but we've just really focused on locking down in the half court. And just not letting teams just get wide open buckets on the other end. And we've really emphasized it, and it's something we've started to really take pride in. I think coming off a game last night, we didn't really play very well in the half court, so we're going to spend some time today on that in practice. But that's one thing I spent some time over the summer focusing on and learning about and educating myself on, because if you can hold teams to low points, we'll be able to outscore them. And so defense is what you can control. You can't control if your shots fall. You can't control if you're hitting threes or you're hitting foul shots. Sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off, but you can control how hard you play on defense.
Yeah, well, I want to.
Yeah.
There's a couple of officials that I talked to before the season. They told me they thought the three-point line moving back was going to help you because of the spacing and the way you play. I was wanting to ask you about, with that new rule, with over a foot, it's a deep three now. You're hitting more threes than you did when the line was closer.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
We haven't really noticed it. I think we noticed it at the beginning of the season. First couple games of the year, I think we struggled from three, but now it's another line on the court, and usually you shoot from the furthest line anyway. So when we went to play at opponents' gyms that had the deep three-point line, we usually just shot from that one. So we really haven't noticed it that much.
Well, you talked about how tough it gets to this point. You've got some tough road games coming up. I mean, you have a big, Concord has always been tough for you. You've got to go to Notre Dame this week. Fairmont's still looming, and, they're up there in the standings, just with the schedule coming up.
Yeah, and we can just take it one game at a time. So we have to focus on Notre Dame today, and we have to take care of business on the road. They're a tough team. It's a hard place to play. It's a tough trip for us. So we have to lock in. If we play like we did yesterday evening, then it's going to be a rough game for us. So we got to work on getting better today and take it one game at a time.
And in Frostburg coming in here next week, that was one of the teams that was within 5 of you late in the third quarter up there. How hard is it? You mentioned about staying on them, but each game about keeping them refocused.
I guess we'll see. I don't think we did a good job the first time we played a team twice. And so we'll see how seriously they take things and how hard they want to work. What we do is so much about effort. And if they start to think that they can walk into a gym and just show up and win, we're going to get humbled quickly.
Well, before we go here, I want to get off the basketball court here and talk about academics again. The team 3-2-0, a bunch of your names were on that honor roll with the institution and the league. About how you've been able to shape that culture that's important to your athletes.
It is important to us, and we set a team GPA goal at the beginning of the year. And my assistants and Coach Adriana does a great job at staying on them and making sure they're in their classes, and walks around and checks if they're in their classes and checks their study hall hours and has individual meetings with them. So I really can't take any of the credit for that. She has worked really hard and she's chased them around. We kind of tell them it's like herding cats. You just try to kind of get them all together and try to make sure that they're in the right spot. So she deserves A+ for that one.
Very proud of that, and I want to say publicly how proud I am of Coach Stevens and her staff and these young ladies for what they continue to accomplish. And 4 more home games here in the regular season at the Waco Center and then the tournament. So we're going to be making some strong pitches that this team, what they're accomplishing, we need to get out of the Waco Center and really enjoy the moment because it's really something special. So
thanks, Coach.
Coach, appreciate having you here today and look forward to talking next week. Welcome back to Glenville State College, the athletic department here in the Waco Center. This afternoon, our guest is head acrobatics and tumbling coach, Ashley Patterson. Coach, glad to have you here today.
Nice to be here.
Coach, this is, getting the head coaching job. You came out of that championship program at Fairmont. Just talk about, just some takes of, your first semester as being a head coach.
So what I'm trying to implement is taking what I did at Fairmont a little bit and applying it to the girls here because obviously Fairmont had success in doing it, so I've just applied it here. The girls have worked very hard and they're a very talented young team, so I think that overall it's going well.
Talk about the talented young team. It seems like you got a really good mix. You got some good veterans. It's been on some successful teams, and then an influx of some good freshmen as well. Plus, you got a good transfer mid-year. Talk a little bit about your roster.
So when it comes to the freshmen, I have a variety of background. I have an acrobatic background, I have a gymnast background, and a cheerleading background, which is a great mix to have. For veterans, we have gymnastics, we have cheerleading, we have a little bit of a soccer one. We just got a transfer from Peru who is very outstanding. She picks up very fast, great body control. So I think overall our mix of girls is going to make us very successful this year.
Yeah, I know we're still working on some scheduling pieces there, but it'll be official, and we will not be starting next week as we had talked about. I know, but between now and when you start, when you have that first competition, what are the things you're trying to fine tune right now to prepare them for that first competition?
I just think overall the girls' nerves, not being able to, have audience last year, and then, we have a lot of freshmen, so they're very new. They don't understand the meet format, which we're trying to process that, explaining it and everything. So that's the only thing we're trying to fine tune is, those steps that they take that they're not used to doing. So I think that's about it.
Yeah, and you talked about coming out some success. You came out of the championships, and Fairmont's won each one of the Mountain East Conference championships. We've been there, been to the semis. They had the 9th ranked team a few years back. Great history here. What you talked about what you want to implement. What were some things that made the program under Coach Kiefer up there that was successful that you're really trying to, some specifics? Say you're trying to implement some pieces of that. What are some of those things you're talking about?
So we do a program, this is just a team program. It's called a GA, Guardian Angel. Basically, they're mentors. The freshmen get an older person and vice versa, and they just kind of implement their knowledge, what they know. But the only key thing is it's completely anonymous until the end of the year. So they're getting, it's bringing them closer together without them realizing it. So making them more efficient as a team. Also, we do a 6 a.m. lift, which helps them get ready and be ready to go. And then all they have to worry about is practice. When it comes to practice, we're just kind of focusing on one thing at a time, whether it's compulsory, making that perfect, and then moving on. And that's kind of what Coach Chrissy did.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're really happy to have you. And again, we're getting a little closer to the season. We'll be, sitting down with Coach Patterson as we come upon that first competition. So want to say glad to have you here. We'll be talking again soon. Welcome back to Glenville State College here in the Waco Center. And today our guest here on the Coaches Show is head wrestling coach Dylan Cottrell. Dylan, good to have you today, sir.
Good to be back. It's been a while.
Hey, championship week.
Championship week. We're excited.
Yep. So, from a year ago when we were up at West Liberty, I know, there was a lot more stringent COVID regulations.
Right.
First year program, totally different atmosphere this year going up to West Lib. Tell me about the just about this week, the mindset of the team, and what a difference a year makes.
Yeah, I mean, last year, going into this tournament, it was really go up there, see where, the chips fall, see where we're at as a team, and how much we've got better. And we were really happy with, going up there and getting 6th place last year, beating 2 teams in our first year. And, for us, it was a win. It was a great weekend. But, this year, it's not so much going up there and, let's see how it goes. It's more of a business trip. We're going up there to win a championship. And our guys know that, and they've been training, that way since they got here on campus in August. They knew that it was a tall order with everything that West Liberty had coming back. They're a solid team. A lot of their guys, I think they have 5 or 6 starters who were able to come back because of their COVID year. So, they're at the end of their kind of progression, and we're starting ours, but just because we're younger and starting ours doesn't mean that, we can't start winning championships right now. And I think right now, in general, that's the mindset of the guys is, not going up there to get second, is going up there to win a team title.
Well, again, they've been as high as number 3 in the country this year, and you've had some good wins over traditional power, like Notre Dame and some other solid league programs. Tell me about how you've seen the team build its confidence with those wins this year. To 17-7, there's some big wins over some solid teams in that. Yeah,
I think between all the divisions, NAIA, D3, we have 4 top 25 nationally ranked wins this year. And, those wins are great, and they're great for the resume, for our team in general. But our guys really, I don't think they're really holding on to those wins specifically. I think they're just focusing, and I hope they're just focusing on getting better and getting better each rep that they go out there, and continuously progressing towards the end of the year to when that regional comes around, that they're wrestling at the peak, and then giving themselves the best opportunity to make the NCAA tournament. And then, when you get to the NCAA tournament, it's an even playing field. You get to mix it up, go in there and become an All-American just like anybody else. I tell our guys all the time, when they wake up, they put their pants on the same way that you do, right? So any day of the week, someone can get beat. Doesn't matter if they're number 1 in the country or 0-10, right? They wake up, they put the pants on the same way, let's go wrestle, And so our guys are really getting into that, some of them this week, I've really harped on that their bodies are ready. Physically, we're ready. We're in shape. Our guys feel great. And I told them all week they need to visualize themselves winning a conference championship, visualize the team winning a conference championship, that this week was more about mental than anything. And I think they've really picked up on that. We've had great training. I was talking to you earlier, it's been a great week for us. So I'm really excited to kind of see it come to fruition.
Now, what about the mindset of the guys? You talked about, physically being where they are right now. But again, we've had a COVID pause, there's been injuries and, some off the mat type things. The program has went through some adversity, but the guys are very resilient. And this is a sport where, you've talked to me about, there's a point where you got to put your ego aside.
Right.
That if there's a point where you can't win that conference championship, you're still going to get the team's points if you get a 3rd or a 5th or wherever you are. And it seems like you've got a group of guys that they get that mindset.
Yeah, we got a smart group of guys and a group of guys that are consistent. They're consistently doing the right things. They come in, they put in the work, and it shows. We talk about it a lot. If you're being consistent, 95% of the time in your daily routine, your schoolwork, your practices, that's going to pay off into wins and translate onto the mat. Everyone, from our guys to anybody in the program, we have mistakes being made, but we continue to move forward with our mistakes in a positive way. And I think that really shows in some of the ways our guys even lose matches, and making sure that, they're learning from those experiences. And again, we've talked about some of the transfer portal stuff. I think that's bringing in some of these older guys that are mentoring and keeping everybody moving along. And But yeah, it's a great group of guys. And again, we talked last year about bringing in a good culture right away. We didn't have to deal with, going through someone else's recruits and then bringing in who we wanted. We were able to bring in what we wanted from the start. And I think really it's starting to pay off in year 2, not only, with our results, but, around the community. And, in the classroom, we had our first time our team was over a 3.0 GPA. So they're just doing the right things, on and off the mat.
I'll tell you what, very excited for this weekend and the trip up to West Lib. I know you're getting ready to head out here shortly, but just tell you what, really excited where things are going, and be excited for our talk next week.
Yeah, hopefully come back next week and we're MEC champions. So that's the goal.
Looking forward to the chat. Looking forward to seeing y'all up there.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for being with us today, folks.